And we're started now.
Everything
Amazing.
that lives is designed to end. We are perpetually
So,
trapped.
yeah, we're in the prologue again. We're in the prologue. The first section, we're just waiting for some dialogue. We will be doing this quite often during this run. And yeah, Unity does just seem to have a delay. I'm not sure. Um, yeah, Unity just has a huge delay. Speed Gaming will be fixing that. Yeah, there's he going, and I guess we have a pause on
Everything
MT's
that
side
lives
now
is designed to end.
to sync them back
We are
up.
perpetually trapped in a never-ending spiral of life and death.
So yeah,
Is this a
Unity
curse?
did start,
Some
and they
kind of
both started
punishment?
the run at the race
I
at the
often
same
think
time,
about the God who blessed us with this
but
cryptic puzzle
they're
and
just
wonder if
desynced
we'll ever
because
have the
Unity's
chance to kill
stream
him.
delay is pretty huge, while MT's isn't.
This is Command. Yorha Squadron, come in. 2B here. All units have penetrated the stratosphere. Autopilot systems green across the board. This is Operator 60. All units confirmed.
So what
We've
you're
passed the 50
seeing on
kilometer
screen right
threshold
now
and are proceeding toward
is
the target.
the flight
Once you
unit
reach their
part of the
anti-air
game.
defenses,
We will
proceed to
have
a
that a
manual
couple of
attack formation.
times.
Then destroy
It's
the
basically a
colliding
shoot 'em
platform by
up,
any means necessary and gather the
and
pen. Understood.
it's kind of an auto-scroller, only that you can speed it up by playing goods, because you progress to the next wave of the sequence
Already engaged.
once all enemies are disappear from the screen. So you can kill them all, or you can wait and have them despawn. Killing them obviously is faster. So we try to kill them all as fast as possible to progress as fast as possible. Yeah, and we're currently resyncing both streams so we see them at the same time. That's why MT's stream is not running right now. The delay on Unity's stream, for whatever reason, is pretty huge, so we do have almost a minute difference here. That's why it's so long, but we should be up back to sync now, so we're fine. Okay, and we're back synced up, so time we can see now is exactly what we want to see.
Multiple surrounding enemy air units confirmed. Requesting permission to assume.
And as you can see now, they're pretty close up in the race. So yeah, they really are at similar points. And this far into the race, the run is 1.5 hours long, so it's not saying much at this point. But the fact that they're this much synced up at this point just says how good both of them are.
4B down. 2B to Operator 60. All Allied units down. The operation is compromised. Awaiting further orders.
So MT is now entering the factory and the next section of the shoot 'em up section, as well as Unity just a second or two behind him. So you probably saw both of the runners and still see them intentionally getting hit by enemy attacks. They do that to use up the medium and large recovery items that we get at the beginning of the game. We don't need those in the run, but what we do need is the attack buffs that we also get, and the attack buffs are in the item menu are behind the recovery items. So when we menu for using the attack buffs, we have to menu a few less items.
Yes, I'm aware
And
of that.
saves a couple of frames, really not that much, but it's a free time save, so why not do it? And yeah, both of them now crashed and landed on the ground. This 3D third-person perspective playing as 2B will be the one we will see most of the run. And they basically had a crash at almost the same time, so they are pretty close at the moment. MT has a slight lead, but it's a very slight lead at this point. And yeah, especially with how punishing this game can be at some points, how difficult some of its skips are. This
You don't say.
doesn't mean anything. I mean, especially at this point, the lead can change at any point in the run.
Laser communications recovered.
2B, I'm transmitting your pod filter.
Pod program download complete.
So MT beat Marks. Marks was the first boss in the game. Pretty simplified. And what you're seeing right now is attempting both of them as crane skip. The first skip in the run, basically 2 high jumps up on that crane.
Ma'am?
Skips a good chunk of working section. I think it's about 30 seconds.
Exit confirmed closed.
So
Negative.
yeah.
Nearby enemies are jamming our signal.
Nothing's ever easy.
Also, I see it in chat. As I said, the flight section, the shoot 'em up section, is not true auto scroller. You can make it faster, so you can gain a pretty significant lead if you do that better than your opponent. But they didn't. They're pretty equal, and they're up to bridge skip now. Bridge skip is one of the most difficult skips in the game. It's a very precise high jump. MT got it second try, I think. Unity has some stutters on my stream. Yeah, Unity's stream sadly is a bit lagging. So he also got it. It's just a small bit behind. I don't know how many tries it took him. Yeah. So yeah, sorry for the frame drops on Unity's stream, but that's
Detected on enemies. Close range combat is advised.
I know.
yeah, we can't do anything about it.
I surveyed the entire factory, but
So
There should be another facility across that bridge. It's a bit of a hike, but should we check it out?
MT now got out of the factory and is up to the first boss fight of, or the end boss fight of the prologue section. This end boss is pretty annoying. He has a lot of sections that's on a timer. The first phase, well, okay, first he's up to Max 2 fight, but I always forget about Marks 2 because
Doesn't matter. I'll just take him out.
this fight is pretty boring. You can do a good amount of optimization here. It's difficult, but with the damage glitches that we have, that I will explain those in a minute. With the damage glitching, getting this fight in one cycle is pretty easy. Which does mean that you can still mess it up pretty horribly. MT barely didn't get the one cycle there, but didn't lose too much time to it, luckily. Same for Unity, and I think Unity regained... Yeah, Unity gained a little bit of lead here. He made a bit of time that he lost, but we're still basically synced up, and we will be... Yeah, we will. So this first fight of the Angles boss fight is on a timer. So what we do in this is we try to deal as much damage as we can, because we have to hit a certain threshold to make a later up to a certain point in the fight, and the more damage we deal in this phase, the less we have to deal in other phases, and yeah. But for the duration, this is on a timer, we can't do anything about it. No matter what it actually does. That's not true for different phases. Other phases in this fight are not entirely timed, but their length depends on the RNG. So the attack they get in this right here is entirely RNG, and entirely determines how long they take for this phase, and MT got worst possible RNG, Unity got a pretty good one, so Unity now is 20 seconds in the lead. Which is quite a lot at this point, but there's a lot of opportunity for MT to catch back up.
In.
S black box signal detected. No
MT, you can see he's doing some swaggy out of bounds movement. Yeah, he already hit the threshold. You can see it at that Angles doesn't have a left bar anymore, so he can do whatever he wants until his attacks run out. Unity is now on top of Angles, fighting some small machines. We call those ninjas, and that's the reason. They can be pretty trolly, depending on RNG, and especially pretty trolly about dodging the lasers. And I think they weren't pretty good for him.
Have to help 9S.
The starters don't help. But yeah, those can be pretty annoying. They can dodge the lasers, which wastes a lot of time. And yeah, MT had a slightly better fight, so he caught back on there.
It talks? I didn't know the
provide support.
So right now they're back in this flight unit. They're attacking angles. Basically, you just shoot them while waiting for the dialogue to end.
Use your pulse.
Once the dialogue ends, the fight progresses with the scripted attack. And depending on the attack pattern that Angles has, that scripted attack can be a bit earlier or later. So you can lose up to another 10 seconds to RNG. Looks like Unity had a pretty bad one, but MT's luck doesn't seem to be much brighter.
These is control system.
Affirmative. Infiltrating enemy subunit. Behavior table adjusted. Balance controls overridden. Enemy unit
So
complete.
they're both basically at the end of prologue now. Unity captured one of the arms, attacks him, and Angles is dead. And this is the end of prologue. Yeah, 15-minute prologue, pretty decent. Yeah, he is in the bunker now. M-Team finished to about 20 seconds behind. So yeah, the only thing that separates them at this moment basically is the bad RNG that MT got during the Angles boss fight. So we will definitely see a very interesting race today. Yeah. Next thing up for Unity is the setup. So since we're androids, the settings in this game actually are kind of in the lore and make sense, or they don't. If that makes sense or not is one point. The other point is that we have to go through them, and it's annoying, but we still have to do it.
Morning.
But he did a very clean one. Doing that fast can give you a lot of misclicks and annoying dialogue and annoying time loss. So
That mean?
yeah, they cleared that out pretty decently. And
There's no.
yeah, seems like MT cleared all that a bit faster.
You need to be near an access point to save your data. You can
But
see access
also,
points on a close-range map. Be sure to save often.
Yeah, we are using in-game time for NieR, so we have a live split script that removes load times from our timer,
Surface? That means we'll be getting time. Better head for the
which makes it more fair. And the fact that their timers are
way too expensive
off by 3 seconds, about 2 to 3 seconds at this point, seems like that MT has faster load screens. So yeah, the fact that he catched up might be a little bit due to that.
Why do you think they sent a combat model like you to a recon job?
So in-game time also is what we compare for on the leaderboard. So, and also the result of the race will be determined by the in-game time. So no one will win this only because he has a faster PC, which is kind of fair, but makes watching the race a bit difficult, especially determining who is in the lead. They're back in the flight unit, flying from the bunker to the Earth. They will arrive at the ruined city. It's a short section, and yeah, it's not too difficult, but it's dangerous, and you can die on this because at this point in the game we don't have any recovery items, and especially the spinners that you can see on empty screen right now. Well, he just killed them. But they can troll you pretty hard, they can do some pretty bad attacks, and they can kill you if you're unlucky. Yeah. So we do a lot of risky stuff in the speedrun. And we handle that by basically, as soon as we get damage, we just throw in a recovery item and we're back at full health, so everything's fine. But at this small section in the game, we don't have any, so we really want.
Target location
So
acquired.
that's why it's
Marking on map.
kind of difficult,
Proposal.
and you have to
Proceed
be
to
careful.
target location.
Yeah, they arrived at the ruined city, as I said, only a small section. Their bag as to be on the ground, and they are now running towards the resistance camp.
According to our intel, none of the machines in this area are hostile.
And
We've been seeing more and more enemies
yeah,
like
they're
this lately.
gonna speak
They
to a
just
person
stand
there,
and stare into
the
space.
resistance keeper leader.
It's
That's
kinda
the
weird.
current mission, checking the status, and yeah. So whenever they're approaching your region, you can, or a cutscene, you can
So
see
this is the
them doing
resistance
a
camp, huh? We should probably go
some
talk
kind
to
of
the leader first.
attack or dash, or
Mind
some
if I
people
leave?
do jumping. Basically, whenever you approach a cutscene, 2B starts to walk very slowly, like
Target
a
location
dramatic
data updated.
intro
Marking on
effect
map.
for the cutscene. By doing an attack or precise movement beforehand, you can skip that small walk up, and it saves 2 seconds every time you do it. So that's why we tried. They're both picking up 2 side quests right now, and
This must have been quite a city
Unity
once upon a
stream is
time.
pretty unstable right now. So
This must
yeah,
have been quite a
they're
city
doing
once upon a
2 side
time.
quests right now. Those 2
Too bad
side quests
vegetation's
are kind
playing
of
most of it now.
half side quests, half main quests. They behave like side quests, but you still have to do them to progress the main quest.
Time for your regularly
It's
scheduled
basically
contact.
the game's
This is
intro
2B.
into the side
Nothing to
quests. It's
report.
pretty annoying, but
Say,
they
how's
have
your
one
weather
nice
on Earth
thing.
today?
One of the side
Good?
quests
Fine.
gives
Does that
gives us
couple
all
need
the
anything to do with our
materials that we need to
operation?
upgrade our
I
sword.
just figured
Gives them
it
all
would
for
be
free,
nice to have some good weather.
so
Have no
That should be
which is
enough.
quite useful because
Let's get this back
that
to the train.
upgrade doubles the sword damage,
Plant life is
sword's
claiming most of the
damage.
central area. Big
Uh,
plants too.
We really like that, so we're gonna pick up the items and do the upgrade.
Wonder if there are any huge boars and such too.
And Unity seems to be disconnected right now. His stream is stuck. Yeah. It's his stream, so we sadly cannot really do anything about it.
Okay, that's everything the supply trader
Yeah, we
asked
have to
for.
hang with it.
Man, these trees
MT
are
now
really
has
far
finished
away.
his side
The
quests,
resistance is a valuable ally to you.
and
By helping them,
he's heading
we
back
also
to the
help
resistance
ourselves.
camp
So no, I don't think
to
they're a pain.
deliver those.
Yeah.
And we're getting a couple of frames from Unity. He already also finished his side quests and is also heading back to the resistance camp. A little bit behind on time, and a lot behind on frames. So you can see right there, MT upgraded his sword. It's a nice free damage upgrade. And MT is now talking to the resistance leader Anemone again and picking up the next main quest. And for the next section, we have to head towards the desert.
Coordinates confirmed for location specified by resistance leader.
Understood, 042. Placing marker on target.
Yeah.
The desert heat is going to make resupply efforts difficult, 2B. Please make sure you're ready before you go.
And we have to go to the desert and examine some machine activity, which for us means killing more machines, as it's the fastest. And yeah, in the end, most of the stuff ends us as killing machines. So yeah, MT doing some movement, and once he arrives at the desert entry camp, he will do some shopping. So for once, he will pick up some recovery items. We really need those, as I already told you. He will also be picking up some animal bait and a sachet that's used to tame animal. And yeah, you can tame animals and to ride them. It's fast, but you first have to pick up an animal, so it's only used once in the entire speedrun.
Map data obtained from Bunker.
But it's still worth to pick up the stuff. You also picked up a plug-in chip called Resilience.
Our
He
satellite
will.
resolution
He
isn't so high.
plug-in chips in this
Hopefully we'll
game
build some new
are a
satellites.
way to
A
upgrade your
general idea
abilities
is good
and
enough.
gain
You
some
don't
extra
let anything get in
stuff.
your way, do you?
And he will not equip the plug-in chip now. He will do that later. But what that plug-in chip does is it gives you some. It prevents you from getting knocked back from enemy attacks as long as your HP is over 80%, and we use that to so that whenever we can get it, we can immediately use a recovery item,
Who opens
so
a
we don't
sealed
really
door
get
with
into
explosives?
danger
There's gotta be
very
an easier
often.
way, right?
You saw MT clipping through the barrier there. If you do it the normal way, you have to talk to a character called Jackass. That's actually her name. It's not. I can't do anything about it. And she will talk a lot, and then she will blow up the gate that we
This
clipped
sure is
past. And yeah, we don't have to listen to her talking, so we just clip out of bounds, walk around it. You will see a lot of out of bounds in the speedrun. Walls in this game are just a suggestion, and if you ask them very nicely, they will most of the time let you pass through them. Yeah, MT just went a bit out of his way to pick up the second pod.
We've got
The pod
enemies
is the
approaching.
small flying robot that follows you around. It does all the shooting, and it has a pod program, it's called, and the only one that we use on the ground is the lasers. In the air, it's the missiles. And it's pretty useful, pretty strong, and it has a cooldown. And each pod, you can get up to 3 in the game. We only get these 2 in the speedrun. Each pod has a separate cooldown on the pod program, so getting multiple pods gives you multiple charges, which is pretty nice.
It's heading for that rocky area.
Individual target ID marked.
So yeah, it's pretty nice. It's some nice extra damage, and since that pod is pretty close to the optimal route, we can go only a little bit out of way to pick it up. Picking up the third pod would be pretty nice, but sadly it requires fishing. Fishing is RNG, so depending on your luck, you could get a nice time boost, but most of the time you would lose a horrible amount of time, so it's not worth it. Because even if you get it, the time save isn't really bad. And yeah, as you can see, them was just a suggestion. He's just walking past there, and please don't try this at home. At least don't try it in real life. If you own the game, please try it, but don't try it in real life. Concrete walls usually are way more solid than this. And yes, Unity's stream is lagging really, really hard. This still is a close race. And MT is doing a skip there. It's pretty precise. There's 2 triggers that you can hit. If you hit one of them, you're almost soft lock. The recovering from that is pretty hard, pretty difficult. I cannot do it. And he luckily got it, so he's now in the Adam Pit fighting some machines that only want to make love. Yeah. So yeah, if you get stuck in here without hitting the story triggers, if you don't know the backup at this point, you would have to reload the last save file, which is, if you're lucky, it's like 5 to 10 minutes behind. If you didn't get the save at the desert camp, which some people do because of alternate routing, you would have to start over the entire run from the beginning. So it's pretty good that he didn't do it, and Unity's current frame shows him in Adam Pit as well, fighting those machines as well, so he got it as well. I would have been pretty surprised if one of those 2 failed it, because they're pretty decent runners, but even if you know how to do it, even if you do it every time there still is the possibility of failing it, and it happens. But luckily it didn't this time, so we're still pretty close in the race, and you just saw MT doing a self-destruct. Self-destruct in this game is a very interesting mechanic. What it does, it creates a large explosion around you and puts you at only 1 HP left. In this instance, he used it to deal some damage, kill some extra machines, gathering additional items and experience before advancing the fight to this cutscene. So, yeah, we will see self-destruct getting used for a number of different reasons later in the run. I will get to that in details once we see that. And Unity also, yeah, they're now both in the Adam fight. Adam is in a horrible boss fight, but MT didn't have too much trouble with it, and had basically a 30-minute Adam bit lower, which is a pretty nice time for it. And is now heading back out of the desert because he finished all of what's here. And we will hopefully see a pretty precise but pretty nice skip coming up when he leaves the desert.
I've never seen a machine like that before. We better report this to command.
Because, yeah, 9S has plans of leaving the desert and reporting some stuff to command on the bunker. We don't want to report stuff because that's dialogue, and dialogue is slow. So what we will see here is MT clipping out of bounds. And you have this tunnel at the side here, and there is a dialogue trigger at the end of the tunnel. So what we do is we walk out of bounds and around the dialogue trigger. By doing that, we can just do a save here and loading back there. And how saving in this game works is you can only save at the access points, at the transporters. But you can also save remotely from within a certain distance around them. So what he did is he saved once he got into that circle. And by loading the save, he landed at the transporter. That saved him the time walking back through the desert.
Data upload complete.
And
I also have an incoming message from the commander.
it's a pretty nice time save. And that's also mostly why we want to skip that dialogue, because as soon as you trigger that dialogue, you cannot save anymore. So until the dialogue is over. That's why we skip the dialogue to do the save warp. And now you can see MT going towards the amusement park, and Unity is too. He's a little bit behind
Target location confirmed. I'm worried
on
about
that,
androids. We should probably check this out
as
soon
far
as
as I can tell
surface
from
route's been
the
cut off.
stream.
So 2B, those machines
You
out in the
might be a
desert
little
just
bit ahead on
androids,
in-game
right?
time even.
Right.
But we
It's
androids
hard
are
to
all
make that out.
creators. So why would machines try to look like us?
So
There's no point trying to work out
Yeah.
unsolvable problems.
I
they have to
suppose.
investigate some stuff in the amusement park. And so, yeah, first thing you are coming up to the amusement park will be a cutscene skip. There is like one of these discovery cutscenes, but doing okay, he actually failed that. Not too bad, only loses a couple of seconds. By doing a high jump off of that route, you can jump over the trigger for this cutscene. MT sadly didn't get it, but
What the?
no big deal.
This is weird.
You can do it. It doesn't lose too much time triggering that cutscene. And actually, if you fail the setup for the cutscene skip, trying again probably wouldn't be saving any time. And you can see him back out of bounds again. Pretty easy. And he's doing a long jump over a very large gap in the ground out of bounds, bringing him up over here. Yeah, he will be picking up a trigger in that corner and then going up to the roller coaster. That skipped
Do you really think
2
it's a bad idea?
cutscenes and some annoying dialogue.
If they aren't hostile, fighting them is a waste of
It's
time.
Let's Play skip, and probably one of the coolest skips in the entire game.
What's this?
Analysis.
Yeah, now he's on the roller coaster, and it's also called the auto-scroller coaster, because it's an auto-scroller. He has to wait for it to reach there.
Sure are strange creatures.
There will be a couple of enemies coming at him now. They're not a big problem. He will probably kill them pretty easily. We have a fairly new skip
People who know me well
in the game that
so
does not skip the roller coaster, but it makes us able to move
you wanna call me
while on the roller coaster. It saves a bit of time because we can hit some required story triggers that we hit before entering the roller coaster. Now we can hit those after entering it. It's kind of weird. We can also pick up some interesting items that make me run somewhat faster, because it gives us access to faster movement. But that's a pretty precise skip, and I'm really not blaming MT, and apparently also not Unity for not going for it. Because if you fail it, you lose a bunch of time, and it's not worth it if you don't know how to do it. So MT is out of the roller coaster now. He is entering the Bobua boss fight. It's the boss fight of the amusement park, and it's an amazing boss fight. You won't see much of it in the speedrun because we will use damage glitches and buff items and taunting to make this fight really fast. But in a casual playthrough, this boss fight is one of the best ones in the entire game. So I guess at this point is as good as any to explain damage glitches. Basically, there is an attack that at which 2B throws out her sword and it's spinning in front of her. And when she does that attack, it does a lot of hits in a smaller amount of time, but those hits only deal a fifth of their normal damage. So, but if you hold dash while triggering that attack suddenly deals 5 times the intended damage. And yeah, that's the damage glitch. It's pretty amazing, and if you need a small sword in the heavy slot for that, which is one of the reasons why we use that for speedrunning. The other reason is that small sword in the heavy slot is not only broken for combat, it's also broken for movement. So we use it's convenient that that's the ultimate setup in both in combat as well as in movement. So we use that. And you have 2 weapon sets in the game, and you can swap between those, and you can actually equip both to be set up for damage glitch, and you can do what we call double damage glitch, where basically you have 2 swords out spinning, both dealing 5 times the damage that they're supposed to, which is an insane amount of damage we can deal out, and that's how we obliterate most of the bosses this fast. You also saw the hacking minigame. You can still see it up on Unity stream. Optimally, you can only get that hacking minigame once in the entire run. It's way more present in the B route playthrough and also in the CD ending. But since this tournament stops after gaining A ending, that's the most common category of this game, and yeah, so we're not gonna see any more of that hacking. Yeah. MT is now heading towards the village. There was a peaceful robot outside telling him not that he doesn't want to fight them and invited him to the village, but MT killed that robot anyways. And yeah, And the fun thing about that robot is you can say yes or no to going to the village, but it doesn't actually matter what answer you give,
They
because
originally came here from outer space,
if you
right?
say yes,
Well, I have
then
a few theories
9S
about that,
responds
but
with
no one
yeah,
knows
let's
for sure.
go.
Hard to tell
And
what an alien is thinking, you
if
know?
you answer with no, then 9S is like, yeah, you're right, but let's go anyways. So you end up visiting this village. It's a bunch of peaceful
They all have
machines,
white flags.
Looks like they really don't want to fight.
and you can also see both of them. They did a self-destruct at the end of the boss fight, and this time we did it because it puts us at only, as I mentioned, it puts us as only 1 HP, and we have a death warp coming up, and being at only 1 HP is very useful for a death warp. That's why we self-destruct at the end of that boss fight. It's basically doesn't cost us any time at all,
We can get into the city ruins
and
if
the
we
save
find
warp
that
does
box.
save a lot of time. So the reason why we do a save warp is at the village leader, Pascal, he gave us an item that we need to deliver to the resistance camp.
What's wrong?
And this is the one instance in the run where we use an animal because they're right in front of the machine village, and walking there is fast. And you also can see probably the fastest movement in the entire game, hopping with the boar.
I am definitely not the person to
So
discuss this
we're
with.
going to the resistance camp now and delivering the item that we got from Pascal. It's just a fetch quest and it's annoying, and the most annoying thing about it is once we deliver the items, we just get another item that we have to deliver back to the resistance camp.
All
So
mine.
the interesting thing about dying this game is you lose your experience, that you lose all the experience that you gained since you saved the last time, and you use all your currently equipped plug-in chips. We don't care about both of those things because we don't have any plug-in chips equipped, and we didn't gain any experience since saving the last time. But the interesting thing is it respawns you at the transporter that you saved on the last time. So we will be respawning in the machine village. And also you keep all the items that you gained, so we still have the items that we need to deliver to Pascal. And yeah, basically dying there saved us the trouble of having to walk back to the village. It's a nice time save. And
What's the
MT
news?
just did that. He delivered the second item, and
This is an emergency transmission from the bunker.
now he's heading to the next part.
Inside the city ruins.
So
There are a ton of other
you guys
machines.
remember the huge machine that was the end boss in the
Engage
prologue?
immediately.
He's back.
This
Engels is back. He's in the city, and there's actually 2 of him.
We were not aware of this.
So
Command is deployed
he now
with
has to
flight
go
units
kill
to us.
them.
They just sent the coordinates, so let's get going.
On it.
We probably shouldn't get near that guy's feet. Yeah, no. Let's find another route. The flight units should be on the roof of that building up ahead. It'll be dangerous, but we're not going anywhere unless we pass through that Goliath's legs. We should be careful.
So yeah, we're now going to the village. Command send us some flight units to fight those huge Goliaths, so we don't have to fight them by foot this time. Well, at least that was the intended way, but sadly, Command is stupid and sent the flight units to a position where one of those Goliaths blocks our way. So we can't get to it, and we have to fight them. One of them.
Be careful.
Well, actually, you can jump around the invisible wall there, and just skip the fight. We have the flight unit now, and we skipped the first out of 2 of the City Angles boss fight. So we're up to the second one. Second one is not too difficult either. So you see MT using attack buffs there. Attack buffs increase your damage by 100%. And so now he uses 2 pop programs, and the second angles is that too. So by now, he finished both the boss fights, and is heading on to the next section of the run. Next section is called Negotiations. So what's going on in the story right now is at the end of the second City Angles boss fight, we had an earthquake, and the city changed a lot. You will probably see it. There now is a huge hole in the middle, and down there's a cave, and we will go into the cave because apparently down there are the aliens that control the machines, and
Guess we'll see once we get there.
we have to investigate it.
If we're lucky.
So we're finally going to see the bad and evil aliens that control the bad and evil machines that are on our planet.
Look at all these dead machines. Seems like they've been here for a long time.
What is this place?
I don't know.
So this is one of the alien motherships, basically, and the aliens are the plot twist. The aliens are all dead, killed by the bad machines that they created.
Look out!
And now we have to fight Eve. Eve is Adam's brother. We should have seen him already, but we skipped that cutscene at the end of the Adam fight.
Wiped out.
So this time is the first time we see him. And if you didn't realize it at the first fight, Adam likes to talk a lot, and we don't like that, because this fight isn't actually a fight. This fight is just listening to Adam talking. And so as soon as Adam stops talking, the fight is over. And that gets pretty obvious because we have a technique in the NieR speedrun. Sadly, it's not available for this category of the speedrun, but we have a technique that lets us cancel any dialogue in the game. And if you use that at the beginning of this fight, the fight is immediately over. We can still do some nice things in this fight. You saw MT killing Eve once. Killing him once gives you some extra experience for the fight. Killing him another time doesn't. So he uses a counter-attack high jump to get out of bounds, and he leaves the battle arena. This doesn't save him too much time, because he will, at the end of the fight, there will be a cutscene, and that cutscene will set him back into the fight, but he can kill some machines and grab some additional experience. Also, he can grab this chest that contains 3 titanium alloys, and with these titanium alloys and some good RNG if he's lucky from enemy drops, he can upgrade his sword a second time to level 3. There's the cutscene, and he's back. But he got the titanium alloys, which is nice. And he got them basically for free, which is even nicer. So getting level 3 of the sword is actually a pretty interesting thing.
Stop complaining.
For once, because it's dependent on RNG, but the other thing is, it does give you another 50% damage boost, which is a lot. But it also changes a lot of the clipping stuff. So a lot of skips later on in the game change depending on whether you get the level 3 sword or you don't, and they change to being more difficult many times. So even if you do get lucky and get the materials, it's still like a thing you you trade off some consistency for more speed, and it gets more difficult. So even some runners don't even try to get the level 3 sword. Basically, you really need to know your way around with that to even save time. The gap in the timers probably is also because of the lag in the stream. It might be
I'll rest if I feel like it.
it might be some load time difference. It's probably lag. So don't actually know too much who is in the lead right now. Let's try to remember that timestamp right now. But still, we would have to get lucky to get a frame at that point. Yeah, Unity is lagging. It's his stream. He's having some problems with his stream. We can't do anything about it
We
at this point.
Pascal,
You, for,
where
So MT now, after a report to command in the bunker, is now back on Earth, and we heard about some machines living in the forest. They're building some sort of a kingdom, and so we're gonna visit them. And I've got a huge spoiler for you. We will have some more. Well, actually, we won't have more machines killing. I don't think we actually kill a single machine in the forest. Now that I think about it. Well, pretty peaceful section then. What you're seeing MT doing there is called Mom Skip. Down there is a machine mother and a child
say, to be,
running away from home,
when do you think
and
you'll be willing to call me
it's a side quest.
9S works just
It's
fine.
a cutscene introducing a side quest. We don't want to do a side quest, so we skip the cutscene.
This job can be pretty rough sometimes, huh?
We don't get to choose our assignments, and you should work on keeping your
Yeah.
emotions in check.
So now
You're
we're
all
heading to the
alive,
forest.
emotional, remember?
I think some of us are better at that than others. This must be the commercial structure Pascal was talking about. The records say it was once a facility known as a shopping center.
Nope.
Maybe.
And you will probably see a dialogue skip there. Yeah. So what you saw on empty screen doing right now, he talked to 9S, his partner, and then he walked into a dialogue trigger. And because he already had a dialogue open, like a text dialogue, and he walked into the other dialogue trigger, that basically cancelled out his dialogue and skipped the other one, and it saved time, so it's nice. And now you see him equipping chips, and I think there was resilience and 3 crit plus 1, if I saw correctly.
Forest is just ahead.
So that gives him now the stagger resistance that I mentioned earlier. So he can, if he gets hit now, he can immediately use recovery items and not be in any danger. And the crit up plus 1 chips, the 3 that he has, give him a total of 6% crit chance. And you don't have any crit chance at all without equipping critical chance up chips. But critical attacks in this game do a huge amount of damage. I think it's 5 times normal damage.
What is with these
And
guys?
connected
Don't listen
with
to what they're saying,
with the
Tubi.
damage glitches and taunting, that's a lot of damage.
How are we supposed to reach that capsule?
So MT is now walking through the forest. And I guess this is a good point to explain taunting, because I guess I didn't do that at all till now. Basically by flashing your flashlight into the face of an enemy, that enemy gets taunted. I would too. But if an enemy is in the taunted state, basically what he does there. Nice rainbow road skip by MT there. That's a very difficult long jump, but he pulled it off first try and is in the castle now, and is now doing one of the easiest out of bounds in the game, and one of the easiest skips called castle skip. But let's get to that in a moment. Back to taunting. Enemies in the taunted state, basically, it puts they deal 50% more damage and they receive 50% more damage. So we just try not to get hit, and we deal more damage, so it's nice. And yeah, that was castle skip. So basic castle is like a huge labyrinth, and you have to walk through all of it, and it's annoying. And the devs nicely placed those huge windows in the back, and we can climb up the castle using those windows. It's nice. So yeah, we do that,
That's
and
Android.
now
You're a
we're
Android.
at
Alert.
the A2
This unit
fight.
is currently wanted by Yorha. Annihilation recommended.
Annihilation.
So A2 is a very scary fight. A2 is really fast, and
Bunker to 2B
she
and
does
9S.
those dash attacks where she goes off screen, where we cannot hit her anymore, and that's scary, and we don't like it.
In front of you.
If you're really lucky, you can stun lock her with double damage glitches, but it's difficult.
She's destroyed multiple
Yeah.
pursuits.
But MT had a very clean fight there, and yeah, so he defeated A2. The game wants you to follow A2 jumping out of the window, but we don't want to because that triggers a dialogue, and dialogue is slow. So what we do instead is we go back to the transporter. The game wants to prevent us from going back to the transporter, but we just do a high jump over the trigger that prevents us from going back. So now MT just transported back to the machine village. That's where we have to go next. Talk to Pascal and try gaining some information about this ominous A2 android, because for some reason Command doesn't want to tell us anything about who A2 is, except that she apparently is a deserter, but we don't get to know what is the reason that she is treated as a deserter, and it's all confidential and weird. And you didn't see it, but A2 actually didn't attack us. She just stood there, and we were the ones attacking. And A2 did nothing until we attacked her. So that's what is worrying 9S, so he decided to ask Pascal about it. Pascal can't tell us anything about it too, so we just go back to the resistance camp. Just an annoying additional dialogue that we need to do. And we're up to the next part of the run, and I hate to say it, but Unity's slideshow might actually be more interesting than the part that MT is up to now. And it's Grun. And the most fitting description for Grun is a 15-minute autoscroller. It's a boss fight. It's an amazing boss fight casually. Awesome music, awesome inscenation, but, well, it's a speedrun. We know all of it. And yeah, basically we go down here, have a few enemies to kill, but then we're basically on 15 minutes of what's mostly an autoscroller.
I think that's the last of the machines.
So, MT defeated the machines at the shore. Now is heading to the flight units and into the Grun boss fight. So this start is a shmup section. In these sections, again, you can speed them up if you kill the enemies fast, so he is trying to do that now. Yeah, the killing enemies fast applies to the startup section. It won't apply for the main section of this, sadly. So you should be through the intro pretty soon and be arriving at the aircraft carrier. The story behind this thing is there's this carrier ship, this android carrier ship, and they're carrying supplies, but they're getting attacked. You have to help them. So we arrived there now, trying to help them, and we're in the auto-scroller now. So we have to fly one time around the the aircraft carrier now, and until we finish with that, it's an auto-scroller. So yeah, it's not very interesting.
Picking up a large-scale enemy inbound. Looks to be 2.8 clicks southwest of us.
Yeah, it's really hard commentating on this because it's just mashing light attack, and every time I do a run of this, I have no idea what I should be talking about. At least, so yeah, this is the Goliath flyer. It's a huge enemy. You're supposed to kill it, and yeah, what you're doing is you use attack buffs because 100% more damage. Why not? And then you want to use as much pod programs as you want because they deal a ridiculous amount of damage. In between, you just use pod fire. Empty killed it. Pretty smooth fight. Can't do it much better than that. And well, this is Grun. He's annoying. He's a big boy. The background story behind Grun is actually kind of sad, probably, but you get that later in the game, very later, so not sure if I should talk about that. That would be pretty huge spoiler. But yeah, Grun just ate the aircraft, the aircraft carrier, so yeah, we have to kill him now. So more auto-scroller. And yeah. Yeah, so except for the core fights that I will explain more about later when we get to them, all of this boss fight is auto-scrolling. So yeah, I really don't have too much to talk about it. But one thing that I can tell you about is that the speedrunning community hates this boss fight so much that we want to find a Grun skip. So if you like messing with games and want to try finding this skip, we actually have a bounty for the skip that's over $2,000 now, and a homemade curry pizza shipped to your door by text. So if you're interested in breaking games, try that. You might earn a nice amount of pocket change if you manage to pull it off.
So basically, if
Yeah.
this thing reaches land, we're screwed.
So yeah, I could talk about interesting details about core cycles, but there's no sense in talking about core cycles because before we actually reach a core. So I don't really know too much about commentating, but if you guys in chat have any questions about the speedrun or the game or anything, then this is an amazing time to ask them in chat, because now I've basically got 10 minutes of time where I have nothing to do but to answer your questions. Oh, you get a free alcoholic beverage of choice? Who threw that in, Rim? Not that I'm interested in it, but I don't want to make anyone angry by forgetting that one the next time I mention the
Electromagnetic interference eliminated. Preparing for satellite laser.
prize, because Tech always gets angry at me if I forget the pizza.
Oh, come on! It's got an electromagnetic barrier over its whole body?
Having trouble over there?
Are you Yorha?
Hunter Squadron deploying out of North 12C Defense HQ.
So we now have some support showing up.
Don't worry, we'll take it from here.
Yeah, they're going to help us, so
2B, let's leave this area to the reinforcements. I have an idea. You and I should meet up at the spot I just marked.
So yeah, 9S has good ideas. He's got a lot of good ideas, and Pod doesn't like that. More to that later. But now we're
Got it.
back on the shore and using some mortar cannons. Or what? So
I'll help aim.
This thing's armor is too thick. We need more firepower.
yeah,
2B, let's try
we're shooting Grun now with the mortars.
Oh, right.
Basically, you have to shoot him once, then wait for some dialogue, then shoot him 3 more times into the mouth. And you can pass through those shots, and MT messed up a little bit. That's sad, but he pulled it off. He finished it. 3 nice shots. Didn't lose too much time. Has 2 cutscenes to skip. And we're back fighting Grun. And by the way, in one of those cutscenes, Grun released an EMP attack that killed all of our reinforcements, so
But it wound up going out of control.
yeah. So much about reinforcements. We're alone once more.
So I remember.
So yeah, we only have 9S with us stealing experience right now, so might be a good thing.
No one could figure out how to stop
So we're back to fighting Grun.
Eventually, Maroon
Grun now
in the ocean. But it
stood up,
seems to be searching for a way
and
back.
he's an even bigger boy now. But he's still bad,
Hey, 2B,
so
I think I
we
have
still
another idea.
need to kill him,
That thing right
apparently.
where it is, okay?
What?
And
This is gonna work.
Unity's at the mortars too, and regarding that, his timer is quite a lot behind at this point.
9S is leaving the front line.
Unity might actually be ahead.
Should be reported to command as a deserter.
No. He has a plan.
And
Hold on.
yeah, let me check that. Yeah, damn it. Don't have a split for that.
2B,
Let me check on their streams where we are.
but I need you to destroy the EMP unit on that.
Yeah, Unity seems to be.
Off course.
He was ahead. He was 15 seconds ahead at the end of A2 apparently, and I don't have any recent splits from MT, but Unity seems to be ahead, contrary to what we're seeing on stream. But well, we don't really see anything from Unity except for a slideshow. A very, very delayed slideshow, so MT seems to need to hurry a bit if he wants to win this. So yeah, that's the chorus that you're seeing right now. You saw one earlier. MT is now fighting the second one, and he killed the second one. And he's heading for the third and last one now, but to get there, it's a last auto-scroller. The last one in the entire game, so once we get through this one, we will be rid of them for the rest of the race. So yeah, all those enemies that you can see in this auto-scroller, you don't need to kill a single one of them. You still want to kill them, because you get experience for killing them. And at the end of the run, we want to have level 20. You can still beat the game with level 19 or 18 or whatever level you get, but it gets a lot harder. For example, level 20 gives you I think it was 5% damage boost compared to 19, and 5% damage is a lot. And you really want that for the final boss. So yeah, getting level 20 really helps, but depending on which strats you use, you might miss out on a lot of experience, so reaching level 20 can get hard in some runs, so you really want to kill every single one of the enemies in this auto-scroller to grab as much experience as you want. And MT is on the last core now. And he finished that one. And killed Groon, and we're finally out of the auto-scroller section. So we're back to the interesting part. Time to wake up again. And yeah, 9S went missing in that fight, so we need to find 9S. Nice drone warp from MT. He also skipped a cutscene with that, but skipping that cutscene actually doesn't save any time. But it's did I say cutscene? It's dialogue, not a cutscene. So skipping that dialogue doesn't save any time, since we need to do a lot of walking anyways. But it's a 6-0 talking, and basically in the speedrun, whenever 6-0 starts talking, we need to skip it. It's probably one of the things we do most often in the speedrun, skipping 6-0's dialogue. So that's what MT did now, and MT now is up to Carpet City Club. It's an out of bounds and another one of the most difficult skips in the entire game, alongside bridge skip that you saw in prologue and some stuff in the factory there you will see coming up. So we have to go to the copied city, and to get there we have to do some walking. We can skip it with this out of bounds clip. MT finally got it, jumping down into the tunnel and taking the elevator down. He took a while, lost some time there, which isn't too good, but he made it. Unity also killed Groon, apparently. So can look at their times and give you a heads up on who's in the lead in just a minute. Need to refresh a stream on my end. So MT is now walking through Copied City, and here we are fighting Adam again. And you might remember how I told you Adam likes to talk a lot. So I've got a surprise for you. The first phase of the fight is another dialogue waiting phase. So we go out of bounds and walk back to the elevator. We do that because in the elevator there's a dialogue trigger. Basically, Pod tells us to go back to go save 9S, and that dialogue overrides the dialogue that Adam is talking right now. So once Pod's dialogue finishes, no dialogue is running anymore, and that's what triggers the fight to continue into the next phase. And that saves. Optimally, it saves for about 40 seconds, which is pretty nice. And the best thing about that skip, it is pretty precise. Also one of the most difficult. But unlike many other skips, it doesn't lose. Failing this skip doesn't lose any time compared to not trying. So that's why I recommend everyone who tries to run this game to attempt the skip at least a couple of times every run, because you don't lose anything to attempting it. So it seems that at this point, MT at the end of Grun, MT was ahead by
Report. Mail notification received from access point.
about 20 seconds. So this race still is very, very close. But yeah, Unity has seemed to have had a decent copied city clip. Also, he got mansplaining pretty fast, so he might have to cut up a bit again. We will see that in a minute once he finishes the Adam 2 fight. MT on the other side now is walking towards the factory. We're supposed to investigate some machine activity, and Pascal is just telling us that there are some machines in the factory, so we're going there.
If that's what they want, why don't they move in?
I believe they're working on building a colony of their own.
You don't say.
Indeed.
So
It's located in the abandoned
yeah,
factory.
they're talking with Pascal about some peace treaty, and we're going to stick along and see how that turns out.
Sounds good.
Target location data obtained.
Yeah.
Marking on map.
So Unity just defeated Adam 2, and let's see what's the time difference on that. Yeah, it's still about 20 seconds difference. His Adam 2 was apparently a bit worse. No, it's about 10 seconds, sorry. So MT is at the head, at the lead right now, but only by a couple of seconds, and we have some pretty precise skips coming out. One, probably the most difficult skip in the entire run is inside of the deep factory section that's coming up right now, so we can have a lead change really easily in this section. Yeah, but on the contrary, right now we're just waiting for a stupid machine to walk towards the elevator. Just press one button and the machine is... Well, I said it's stupid and it can't walk any faster than it does, and we hate it, and it's finally there. So yeah, you saw MT doing some out-of-bounds movement, and he blew himself up, and all that's just because of boredom, because we have to wait for that stupid slow machine.
Appreciate it.
So, yeah. As you can see, probably think about from what the machines are talking about. They are some kinds of cultists, and basically they believe that if you die, you become a god, and they all want to become gods, so they all want to die. And because they are really, really nice, they want us to become gods too, so they want to kill us. And we'd rather stay alive, so yeah, we try not to die. MT attempted a nice skip there, but he failed it.
We need an immediate escape route.
So he now is killing all those. You can go out of bounds in this room, and by going out of bounds you despawn all the enemies, which makes so you don't have to kill them anymore. The elevator instantly unlocks, and that's nice. He didn't get it. He killed the machines instead, and now he's taking the elevator up to this room. So, or rather, he's taking the elevator down. Seems unimportant. Actually, is quite important because of the upcoming skip. This room is called the 9S room because that machine you just saw was a machine hacked by 9S. So what we want to do is we want to do some out of bounds stuff, but this room is too low inside the factory. We can't do it. So we want to go back up to the room we were in before. That elevator is locked, but by going out of bounds, voiding out, respawning here, the elevator became unlocked again and we can go back up. So we're back up, going to the other side of the room and doing some nice out of bounds stuff there. So the first part is jumping down here.
The door's open. Keep moving.
And he failed the second part of it, which isn't too bad. He got the first part first try. Saved a decent amount of time. He hit the story trigger there, which is required. If he managed to do a very precise thing there, he would have hit the story trigger, but he would have delayed his fall so far that he would have voided out and respawned up on top, and he could have done a and yeah, would have saved some time, and that was scary just now. Yeah, the main thing about getting the second part of the run, it is a bit faster, but most of all it skips that second crusher you saw there. Crushes are very, very scary because crushes are killing you instantly and you have to do the entire steep factory section all over again. I really don't like that. Yeah, seeing his stream at this point would be so insane because they basically are at equal pace right now. This race is so far from being over. Both of our runners could easily win this race, and the winner of this race will win the group stage in their group, which will give them a nice advantage in the double elimination bracket. So both of those two runners should be making it into the double elimination, but still, getting out first out of group stage instead of seconds is a nice advantage. So this race is really would really be amazing, and it is a really close race, so it would be pretty awesome. But sadly, we are having those stream problems on Unity's side.
90%, 92, 95, 98.
Yeah, as we can see on the current frame, Unity also is basically out of fact at the same point as MT is, if you count in the timer difference that we're having right now. MT is on the boss fight of the factory. You saw him waiting there. That was another timed section of the run. So now he's fighting Soshi, and yeah, that fight was over pretty fast. That was a pretty clean fight. Can be a lot worse on. You can get a lot of bad RNG in this fight. He didn't, so it was decently fast. And yeah, he killed it. Now he's running outside of the factory, and we will see if. Yeah. Also, you can see him sprinting right now. Technically, sprinting is the fastest movement as 2B, but you need a while to basically charge up the stream, the sprint, to reach its max speed. So to actually save time with sprinting compared to the dash swinging movement that we're doing normally, and you see him doing right now, you have to be sprinting for almost a minute, I think it was. But since we have that elevator that we have to wait for anyways, we can charge up our sprint in there and leave the elevator at full speed. So in that one instance, it actually is faster. I think that's the only instance. MT now is outside of the factory, and he is in the final section of the run. And
No thanks.
this final section basically is a boss fight. We have a small fight in the resistance camp upcoming now, and after that we will have 4 boss fights, neck on neck, and this is the final part of the run. And yeah, pretty amazing. So let's see how fast MT can handle that one. And maybe let's see how many frames we get from Unity in that time. Yeah, Pascal is pretty annoying.
Try contacting the bunker.
He can be a dick while you're out of bounds. Sorry for that, but he's awful. So MT arrives at the resistance camp, doing the fight back there now. And yeah, he's killing all those small machines. He's clearing those out pretty fast using damage glitches and the attack buffs from earlier. And shouldn't be too much of a problem if he doesn't get some horrible RNG and bad luck. And he killed out that Goliath pretty fast too, so done with the resistance camp, up to Bokushi. Bokushi is basically the bigger brother of Soshi. It's the same fight, but the only difference, Soshi is a ranged fighter, a melee fighter with some claws at the front. Bokushi is a ranged fighter, he has guns. And MT having some bad RNG there, but he's handling it pretty well. Finishing off the fight pretty fast. Sadly broke a leg. Breaking a leg makes Bokushi falling down, and that's wasting time. But oh no, he broke another leg while he was transforming. That is losing him a lot of time. And considering how close this race is, losing that time is a very, very bad thing. But he finished off Bokushi, and that puts him straight into the second boss fight,
You okay?
the Core 2 fight.
Take this bastard down.
Right.
So going up on the hill is a nice strat. We do that because the core boss is flying, so we can just barely not hit it with our damage glitches. But going up on that hill puts us on a higher position, which makes us able to hit him again with the damage glitch attacks, and
They're still coming?
that's nice. And as you saw, you can take him out really fast using that.
2B, can you hear me? Our village is under.
And this race is really close, but sadly we can't really see anything from Unity screen. Oh, it updated apparently. That's nice. So we get a second frame, another frame from Unity, and with that I can give you another time difference. And Soshi,
Damn it.
the Soshi fight put Unity
It seems the machines on the network
a
have gone berserk.
huge amount ahead.
Entrance to the village and are trying to hold
So
off, but
apparently Unity now is about 30 seconds ahead. 30 to 40 seconds ahead of
you saved us. Oh, thank you
Soshi. Yeah, he's about.
The machines on the network all went berserk
Wait,
at the same
I'm confusing my times. Wait a second, please.
Over them may have gone mad.
It's Eve. It's gotta be.
If we destroy
Yeah,
the
he's
system,
about 30 seconds ahead now, and
Most likely.
Unity also is ahead of PB now. So at the moment he's on PB pace. So good luck to Unity. Hopefully he can
we'll take
keep
care
this
of
pace and PB this run,
Safe, okay?
and hopefully MT can catch back on and still win this race. And MT just started the final boss fight. So yeah, part 2 of Deep Factory Skip saves about those 30 seconds, I think, so that's pretty amazing. But yeah, the Eve final boss fight against Eve. First phase is pretty easy. Attacking him, he can do a pretty annoying attack here, called platforms.
Machine life forms.
Loses a bunch of time. MT could skip it, so now going into phase 2. There is a skip for phase 2. It's pretty insane. Requires you to deal a huge amount of damage. Basically, Eve is healing back up to full health. You have to deal damage faster than he is healing. It's difficult. Most of the time it's faster to just not try and wait for him to be at full life and kill him again. So he finished phase 2 now. He's in phase 3. Phase 3 is just shooting him with the pod fire and maybe throwing in some pod programs. And he's actually going for pod launch strat, so he's trying to launch himself into Eve and deal some melee damage, couple of hits. It's a nice optimization. It's difficult. The most important thing about this boss fight is the last 2 phases. You really want to keep him taunted all the time. You want to hold pod fire the entire time, and most of all, you want to have all your buffs up the entire time, which he doesn't, and luckily he just did that. So
Alert. NFCS destroyed. Close range combat no longer operable.
yeah, MT finished. Oh no, he's in phase 4 now. But he almost finished. Yeah, just some more pod firing and healing, and then he hopefully is finished in a second. And I think I just got their times, And
It's okay. I can always reload my backup data from the
it looks like
But you'll lose you.
Unity
That
won
exists at the
actually
same
won
time.
this race by
But I
like
can't
18 seconds.
upload this corrupted data to the bunker. So
And he apparently got a PV in this. So let's see if we maybe can get a final frame
to do
in
for me.
the thing. So yeah, Unity. While we still sadly saw almost nothing of Unity's race, and he apparently still won. So let's see if we can get them in for an interview. Okay, that marked MT as the winner because Unity is set as disconnected. Yeah, we will have to look into the thing with Unity stream because that's pretty annoying. By his time, Unity won this, but well, yeah. And there we have Unity. Yeah, I didn't see much of it. Your time says you did. Your time says you did a pretty good job. You did get a PB, so congrats on that. I really I hope you have a local recording of that running. That would. I hope you do because that would be pretty awesome. Otherwise, it would be pretty difficult because well, we basically didn't see anything of your race.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to my stream because OBS says it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not dropping frames.
Wait, you're not dropping frames?
No, I have 0.3% dropped frames.
What? Okay, that's horrible. Also, hi MT. Congratulations on that race.
Hi.
That was a really close race. Good job to both of you.
As soon as I saw him type done in chat, I was like, well, fuck. Thanks for the commentary, honey.
Yeah, thanks for stepping up short notice.
Yeah,
Really
I was
appreciate
like, I'm sitting around. I can do that. I haven't eaten since coming back from university, but who cares? I can eat later.
My stream is starting to load now. It's on 129 right now.
Yeah, 129.
Unreal.
Yeah, we're getting another frame. Maybe we will get another frame with you
Yeah,
actually having finished the run.
This is like 1/60th frames per second.
I don't understand.
No. At the moment, maybe, but it wasn't before. Before it was like a frame every 5 minutes.
When
at some
did
point. So
when did
I
it break?
Like right away, I think.
Wow,
yeah,
okay.
pretty soon. Like it started out a bit laggy and then it got horrible. Up to the
You're just
point
going
where
into
you,
phase
like,
3 on the stream right now.
like where you had like I think for factory you had like 5 frames during the entirety of Deep Factory or something like that.
Well,
It was horrible.
OBS is trying to stream at 10,000 bit rates, so
Oh, well, there you go.
50% of my CPU.
Oh, you probably should turn that down if you
No, I
have
have it
that
on
high
6.
setting.
I have it on 6K, but it was like I'm looking at the OBS screen right now, and it says 12K. So
Oh, that's
Yeah,
just. Oh, I guess it's just that trying to catch up.
yeah, probably it's good.
Yeah,
good point.
probably trying to catch up. That might actually be the problem because Twitch doesn't allow more than 6,000. And
I don't know what
yeah.
it's doing. It's done this once before, but it hasn't done it for like a couple weeks, so I just assumed it'd be fine.
yeah, maybe turn down your maximum bitrate a bit. Because that might be a problem if OBS tries to stream with that much.
Well, I also tried to. My bitrate isn't 10K, it's 6K, and my internet can handle that. I tried to stream
yeah,
it
but
like
still.
I streamed at
yeah.
2K before, and this happened, and then I turned it up, and it actually fixed it. So I don't know what's causing it, because it's not bitrate.
Well, weird. Yeah, if OBS doesn't say you're dropping any frames, then it's pretty weird. Because I've got your stream up locally, it's the same problem. I tried refreshing that a bunch of times, didn't fix it.
Okay, I shut my stream off now. I'm gonna see if I got a local
So-
recording.
Yeah, check for a local recording, because that will be pretty nice. But what? So both of you, what did you think about your performance in this race?
I'm like super tilted, dude. I just had so
Wow.
much stuff go wrong. I got punches. When I was
Yeah,
doing
punches
Oh,
was
wow.
horrible. So
when I was doing Grun, I somehow missed the second mortar shot. Somehow.
I hate to point it out, but this race was decided by punches.
Wow. That's
Um,
stupid.
MT,
But,
I'm so sorry for you, but you would have won this if you didn't get punches.
Well,
If everything would
I
have gone
also-
the same, but you
yeah.
had better RNG, you would have won this race.
Well, here's the thing about the luck was I actually got VC3,
Yeah,
oh.
and then I got to like copied city, and that took me a long time too. So I was like, just can't win because I've never practiced that with level
Yeah.
3.
yeah. If I get level 3, I just don't go for the skip.
Yeah, I
Because-
really probably should have just gone the
Yeah,
intended way
might-
or done the
might
other
have
flip.
been, might have been easier. I'd just go the intended way if I get VC3 because I think copied city saves 14 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So it's really not much, and it's really difficult, especially with the level 3 sword. And I think you need to get it at least 4th try, or it doesn't save any time at all. Something like that. So for level 3, might have been easier.
I need to figure out how to do the E phase 2 skip thing because like I just could not do enough damage, and that's with
Slow-mo double damage glitch.
yeah. But even with that and VC3, I still wasn't even close. I don't understand.
Luck on your crits. That one probably
That could
too.
be.
Other than that, I mean, you really need perfect double damage glitch with slow-mo, and if you can't do that, and then maybe a bit more luck, and if you can't do that, you're probably even better off not trying. Your
Mhm.
phase 2 was pretty fast, so I'm not sure if with VC level 3 if phase 2
If it's
skip
even faster.
if that's even faster, because
It might
your
not
phase
be.
your phase 2 was insanely fast, and that dialogue that you have to wait through for doing the skip is pretty long, and the skip
Mhm.
doesn't. But phase 2 skip doesn't save much time,
Yeah, I'm probably just not even gonna go for it.
so yeah, probably not. I don't anymore. I can't even do slow, so I don't go for it. But it's really hard, doesn't lose that much time. Yeah, it was nice. So, yeah. What about you, Unity? How well did you think your run go?
I don't really know because I thought I had a good early game, but I had like +3 seconds from my PB on Shmup, and just prologue was plus 33 seconds, and I thought it was decent. But and then somehow I made up like a minute and 20 seconds worth of time loss. So I don't know what I did in my PB, because I feel like I didn't suck too bad in this run, but
Yeah, you had a pretty decent factory, at least from what I saw. So you got the full deep factory skip, I think, even with power 2.
yeah.
So that saves a lot of time. And also part 2 of the factory, aside from the angles RNG at the beginning, part 2 is probably what put you ahead and won you the race. You were behind. You were about 10 seconds behind before Deep Factory. You were about 20 seconds ahead after. And yeah, those 30 seconds about is the difference that you get from doing part 2 of Deep Factory skip.
Yeah, I landed on right by the
Yeah.
door, so I had to take the long way, and I was like, oh well, that's it.
Yeah, you saw that. But yeah, isn't too bad. Landing on that is better than not hitting the trigger and having to do that jump again.
Also, my time would have been sub 132 if Core 1 didn't get stuck in such a stupid spot.
Yeah.
Oh,
because
did it like rotate in a bad
I
position
was-
like twice or whatever?
It was I think I mean Core 2. I'm not sure when the Okushi dies and pops out, and you bring up to the hill.
Mm-hmm.
My damage glitches rolled below her, and I spent like 10
Oh,
seconds maybe
okay.
trying to fix it.
Oh, okay, that core, gotcha.
Yeah, so it's just super slow. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's decent overall. It's PB, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, congrats on PB.
Yeah, that PB was nice. MT, what did you think about your Bokushi fight?
Oh, it was dumb. It was about to die, and then somehow I broke one of its legs, so it got stunned again. So that's a good time loss as well.
Yeah, you had a lot of. You had the bad attack at the beginning, and then 2 broken legs, and actually I didn't know that far into the transform animation you could still break a leg. Like I thought
Yeah, I just wasn't even thinking about it.
he basically already pushed away his legs for going into the ball form, and then then MT managed to break another one, and
That's really
that
stupid.
lost.
Oh man.
That lost so much time. And
Oh well.
yeah, that was bad too. Yeah, so any one of you has something else he wants to say about this race?
That's all for me. Just thanks for commentating.
Yeah, thanks for commentating. What about nobody if you didn't step up? So yeah, GG.
Yeah, was nice commentating. It was an interesting race, was a close race. Sadly, we only could see half of it.
I'm actually so mad about that. I haven't had that for weeks, and it's just.
Yeah. Do you have a local recording?
I'm not sure. I don't know
Yeah.
where they go right now, so I'll find it.
Yeah, check that and tell us if you do have, because that would probably be needed.
Need that for the leaderboards.
Definitely, yeah, definitely for the leaderboards, and yeah, so yeah. But at this point, yeah, thanks to you for racing, and big shoutouts and thanks to all the guys who organized this tournament, especially Canaris, who did most of all the work, and it's a fun tournament. I really like it, and so thanks to you for organizing that. And also thanks to Speed Gaming and for restreaming this, and all the people who put work into that. And yeah, thanks to all of you guys, and see you with the next race. So that's it from my side. So bye.